Hello from Patrick. This here is a starter motor. Most of you know what a starter motor is, but some brief description. First I'll start with saying what it fits. This here fits the armored personnel carrier WMZ stroke WZ-551A or WZ-1. Mostly it's a military truck used by Kenya, China, and other African countries that are supplied the APCs by the Chinese military. So starter motor works in a very basic way. Its work is to start the engine. So when you press the ignition switch or the start switch at the dashboard of the vehicle or anywhere where your ignition start system is, there's the vehicle basically. The ignition switch sends a signal to the plugs, or if it's a truck, it's a different types of system. Then the plugs, they send the power from the battery into the solenoid switch. For this specific vehicle, there's a trigger switch or a solenoid. This is a solenoid switch for the specific armored personnel carrier. So it's called a trigger switch or a solenoid switch that triggers the starter. For trucks, you need a solenoid switch or a magnetic switch, since it's a load of power that is being loaded from the battery. So so that the power is transmitted to the solenoid, which in turn loads a higher capacity to the starter. For small vehicles, they don't have solenoids because they need just less power, so they can't drain the battery easily. But for trucks and APCs, they ultimately drain the battery. The starter can drain your battery. So power is transmitted from your battery, from the solenoid, which in turns from the battery to your solenoid, then from the solenoid directly to the starter. The starter works to ignite the system, the engine, to make the engine run. When the power reaches the starter, this sometimes they call it a bendex, sometimes they call it a pulley, etc. It gets out, it gets into contact with the flywheel, which I can't show since the specific flywheel for this vehicle I don't have. So it gets in contact with the flywheel and turns the flywheel. So as the flywheel turns, the flywheel in turn will turn the crankshaft, will make the crankshaft to start rotating. As the crankshaft rotates, immediately the mixture of air and fuel begins, and thus energy is created in the engine and the combustion begins. So in turn, the engine starts combusting by itself. So immediately that starts the combustion, the mixture of air and fuel begins. Now the starter turns off, it stops rotating, and the bendex goes back into the starter to remove it from the position where they're in contact with the flywheel. So the flywheel turns the gears, turns the crankshaft, and thus the vehicle continues moving. So as I said, this specific model is for armored personnel carrier APC WMZ, all available at Patrick. As you can see, it's brand new, it's genuine. For all, I'm not sure, I guess it can fit some other, probably Caterpillars. Caterpillars use this sort of starter. Depending on the mount. The mount is a 3-hole mount, directly 90 degrees. So this is very important in mounting the vehicle. So this is the trigger switch. The trigger switch, as I've explained, it has a perfect job in conjunction with the starter. I'm making another video for the generator in a few.